All right, let's get into these listener questions. We have 3 to get through tonight. Remember, you can leave them in the Discord. You can look for the Twitter thread, leave them on Patreon, wherever we check for them. We had way too many last week. So, the One True James writes in via Discord, what is the oldest game you regularly revisit? I feel like my answers are the same as the last time. Tetris. Probably 2 or 3 times a week I play Tetris before bed. And then the Turtles games, like I said, I love sitting down to replay those games. And now that my kids are getting old enough to play games, right, that like my son is really into Ninja Turtles too, and watching him watch me play or him trying to play is also really fun. And I feel like brawlers are simple enough games for them to learn how to play. Just because it's pretty much button mashing and moving side to side. So
basically,
yeah. Plus, I have the Switch, NES, and Super Nintendo and Genesis controllers, which are
nice,
way less buttons for them to focus on. And they work on the Cowabunga collection, which is very awesome. They also work on Shovel Knight too, by the way.
Interesting.
Wondering.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I played Shovel Knight with the Super Nintendo controller, and it was awesome. Matt, what about you?
There are a lot of answers to this. Obviously, Chrono Trigger, though I haven't played it as much recently. But the one game that I managed to play almost every single year is Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. I love Kirby. It's one of my favorite franchises. And the original Kirby's Dream Land on Game Boy is about 45 minutes from toe to tip. If you're really bad at it, maybe an hour. And then it unlocks a hard mode that you can play through that usually only takes about an hour and a half. I love it. And I always try and get a sitting in with it. If I'm ever bored, every emulator I have on any device can play that game. I have it. It's obviously on Switch Online. I have it on my Steam Deck through totally legal means. I love this game. There are other games that I replay often, but this one is the one that I definitely replayed the most my entire life because it's just such a quick replay and it's such a satisfying game to play because it's bare bones basics. I love it's not my favorite Kirby game. My favorite Kirby game is the Game Boy Advance remake of Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland, because that takes a really good game and makes it perfect. But Kirby's Dream Land is like a perfect experience because it's just boiled down basics. This is what Kirby is. Move through, have a good time.
It's crazy how the very first Kirby game is not the Kirby that we remember. Like Kirby didn't even have the ability to take abilities.
Yep.
He just swallowed bricks and bad guys and spit them out. That was his only thing.
A Satoru Iwata game.
Yep. Yeah. That was And I love this game. I try and go out of my way to play it every year. Like if I'm stressed, I'll boot it up even if I won't finish it. Like I'll just play a few levels, kind of in the same way, Corey, that you would play Tetris and just kind of pick it up and put it down. Like it's just because there's no story. I mean, there is, but there isn't. And so like you can just kind of just muck around with it every time.
Yeah.
King Dedede stole all the food, and it's up to Kirby to save, Dreamland by getting the food back.
Can we talk how cool King Dedede is for 5 seconds?
Oh, he's the best Smash character. I will own for King Dedede.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So my nephews, side tangent, my nephews come over when they want to play Smash every time they come over, and they swear they can beat me at Smash. And it's me against them, and I give them one computer player.
Yeah.
And I'm King Dedede, and I kill them every time. And it's hilarious.
Amazing.
I mean, they're 9 and 11, so whatever.
Picking on little kids, but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah,
you gotta get your victory somehow.
Look,
exactly.
If they say how sweaty they are and what the Sigma one more time, they're gonna get more than a King Dedede. Bang, okay,
legit.
Oh man, Pat, LeRon, you guys have like the same game almost, sort of.
Oh. Mine goes back to the original Mega Man. Just because I enjoy just running through Mega Man 1 through... It's usually 1 through 10, but occasionally I'll throw 11 in there too. But I enjoy just going through and replaying the series again. Even Mega Man 1, which is not my favorite, but I will still do it for the sake of the series.
It's on it's on the list. You've got that one specific though.
Yeah, because that's the oldest. The question
Oh,
was,
okay.
what is the oldest game you would regularly visit?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. And Zelda also would fit on the exact same timeline because they both came out in 1987. And I do, usually I go through one of the old Zeldas once a year or some Zelda game. And I've gone through that one plenty of times, countless of times. So
Nice.
I would still consider it replayable.
Nice. LeRon, what about you?
I've got both Mega Man 2 and 3 on there because those are
Nice.
ones I actually go back to frequently. I can't remember what episode of the Boss Rush podcast we talked about palate cleanser games and stuff like that. And usually like when I just want to recharge, for gaming, like Mega Man 2 or 3 is one of the games I go back to. Also like the Ghouls and Ghosts on the Sega Genesis, because people shit on the Sega Genesis all the time, but the Sega Genesis at the time was cranking out arcade perfect games. And Capcom was like a champion of some of the most arcade perfect games on the Genesis at that time and stuff like that. And definitely Ghouls and Ghosts is one of them. Street Fighter 2 Turbo was another, but that's not part of my list. I just shouted it out. But Ghouls and Ghosts, like I played Ghouls and Ghosts on the Genesis so much that whenever I see a Ghouls and Ghosts arcade anywhere out in public, like I can usually beat that game in 2 quarters, and everyone knows like them Ghosts and Goblin games are not easy.
I will fight anybody who doesn't like the Genesis. It's one of my favorite consoles. We did a retrospective on it. I still like I was shouting out to the rooftops, Rocket Knight Adventures.
Yes.
Not enough people play that game.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of the best action platformers. I just got the collection from Limited Run. Yeah, I'll fight people in a Denny's parking lot over the Genesis.
Yeah, I'll fight.
So I love Rocket Knight Adventures. I had no idea that there were more than one
Yeah,
that
well,
collection was
that's
announced.
because Rocket Knight Adventures 2 and then the Super Nintendo Sparkster are not very good comparatively. But yeah, that first game, it slaps.
I still have my original Rocket Knight Adventures complete inbox in a box back there. And
Oh, jealous.
I have like 10 Genesis games, all kind of complete inbox sitting back there, and one of them is Rocket Knight Adventures because I love that game so much.
So good.
So I saw you tweet about the collection, and after Limited Run announced it, I'm like, I had no idea anybody else even knew about Rocket Knight Adventures.
I feel the same. I often feel like I'm speaking into a void. But yeah, I mean, even if you didn't get the Limited Run version, it's on the collection's on Steam, the collection's on Switch. It's totally worth it just to experience those other games. They're not as good, but they're still fun games.
Yeah, I would still get it for the first game. So, if you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.